How you doing? My name is James Higgins, and I don't do any videos. This will be my first one. Boy, I wish I could get that fat belly out of there. No. I was talking to the nurse today at work and about my childhood, and I figure I had to do a video to kind of explain why I do things. Well, I'll just go into it. For the first 46 years of my life, I knew that I was essayed by my dad and three uncles from the age of, well, with my dad, it started when I was 6 months old, my brother told me, my late brother. But it really happened from the age of 4 to when I was 13. My brother and I was essayed by my father and three uncles. And I knew this for the first 46 years of my life, and it's been hard. I have over 20 suicide attempts. My last one was in 2011. I worked for a asphalt plant here in Roanoke, and my wife told the police she was afraid of me and had me put out of the house. I never did anything to her. She was seeing a man on the side and wanted me out. So my boss at this asphalt plant let me stay in the trailer that we had on the property. And it was snowing. I forgot what month it was. I think it was August or September or something like that when it was cold. And it snowed about, I don't know, about 3 or 4 inches. So I had my stuff there, and I also had, I take Seroquel to delete myself. So at the time I had over 230 Seroquel. I don't take Seroquel, but I do save them up for when I need an out. And like I said, what was done to me was really horrific. It was, if I were to scream or cry as a child, my dad would punch me in the back of the head so hard that he would knock me out and continue. At 9 years old, I broke into a house where I knew it had a handgun. I was only 9 years old, and I was going to end this. And my brother told me, he says, "What would Mom think if you were to do this?" So I hid it out. It's in the ground. I buried it on my dad's property. But at 9 years old, I was going to do that. I was going to end him, so what I was going through would have been over. Well, I violated a no contact order, with my then wife, my last relationship in 2011. Violating this court order, the judge told me, I take this very personal, so I'm going to sentence you 5 years in prison. I've never been to prison. And during that, in the Roanoke jail, we had a lot of chomos. And there was one that I was in a cell with that he was worried about his sentence, and I told him it'll be okay, you know. But he violated his 6-year-old granddaughter. When I found out that, I called the sergeant and told them to put me in isolation. And I was in isolation for 17 months. And I read a book. I didn't know this at the time, but I have a diagnosis of provisional dissociative amnesia. That is when your mind hides things from you that you can't handle. And with what I'm about to say that was hidden, I didn't know. I remember a lot of things from my childhood, but what was hidden, I had no access to. So when I was reading this book, I can't remember who it's from. It's not Anne Rice, but she wrote a book about this chomo that kidnapped this young girl and built a room in the ground, and it was high enough to where she couldn't get out, and he would go down there whenever. And that book was the spark. And all these memories flooded back. Memories I've never accessed. And then the memories kind of woven in with the memories that I had before. And I was like, this can't be right. But they meshed together. Some of the memories there was this one little girl. We heard screaming from my father's room. And I guess my dad went to the bathroom or something. She ran out and she was naked, and I was probably 5 years old and my brother was 11. And she's asking us for help. Please help me, please. We couldn't help her. My dad has always been a carpenter. My family used to own a big farm in part of Virginia that's north of here. And they had 2,000 acres, and my dad, all them boys were strong. My dad and my uncles, they were always strong, hard workers, drunks. And my dad came out of, I guess, the bathroom or something. He grabbed her by the hair and pulled her back into his room. When we heard the screaming die down, my brother and I, he opened the door to my father's bedroom. He's passed out. There's that little one laying beside him face up. We knew she was already gone. And there was a lot of blood between her legs on the mattress. My father, with the help of my brother, buried her the next day. Another time, I opened the side door to, he had a single wide trailer. Opened the door to the side to go outside, and there was a body of a little girl laying on the ground like she was tossed off the porch. I know there was five. I remember 3. My brother later told me it was 5. But many years later, I was weed eating. At my father's house, and I hit a part of a dress, and the threads came undone and was wrapped around the weed eater shaft. And I'm fighting with this. I didn't see what was in the ground. I just know that it was a lot of fabric. And my dad came around and said, hey, let me take care of that. And he sent me on the other side of the house so he can deal with that. My late sister, my older sister, she was born in 61. My brother was born in 60. I was born in 66. When she was 9 years old, she was raped by my father. And then, well, my sister told me that the reason they didn't go to court is because my mother said she didn't want her to go through a trial. She was raped from the back. Her bottom. And then we lived in Houston with my stepdad. My mother left my father because of this, and my stepfather essayed her. About a year later, nothing was ever happened. Nothing, no court, no arrest. In between, my mother would send us on a Greyhound bus. We were small kids. My sister, born in 69, 3 years younger than me, was 6 when we first went. And we would leave from Houston to the central part of Virginia all by ourselves. She was 6, I was 9, my sister, my other sister was same age as me because we were born the same year, 66. They all died. Not and my stepfather, he would make us children do things to one another for his gratification. When he didn't work, my mother was a waitress for many years at Denny's. She worked nights. And he would have us do things to one another. When my father and uncles didn't have a victim, there was 4 of them. They purchased a gallon of whiskey, black bottle. What was that? Jack Daniels. They'd get Jack Daniels, a whole gallon. And they would take turns on my brother and I guess I was the favorite because I was younger. When my brother would get the attention, I would breathe a sigh of relief. But it was I have been in and out of many, probably 16 or 17 behavioral health inpatient. I have been at Broughton. It's a state hospital in North Carolina. I've been in 2 comas. One for 3 days and one for 7. Forgive me, I don't do videos, but if you have a story, tell it. It's healing. I don't go there a lot. It starts an anxiety attack. One time it lasted for a month. My anxiety attack lasted for a month and I didn't have any help. I went to the FBI. I had, I believe it was 6 meetings with them. I even talked to an SA expert. And she was crying. A lot of people have gone through worse. I'm not special. It's been hard to do this by myself. I have had a therapist for about 2 years, and she was amazing. She asked me one time, have you forgiven that little boy? You. And I never thought of that. And for a long time, I did blame that little boy because he didn't protect me. But he was only 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 13 years old. And for a year, I forgave that little boy. I forgave him for not carrying out the murder of my father at 9 years old that I planned. And after I buried the gun, it went on for 4 more years. Now I celebrate life. I should not be here. I should not be above ground. There are so many times. It's a miracle that I'm here. My boss gave me that place to stay in the trailer, and I took over 230 100 milligram Seroquel. The asphalt plant manager came. He told me I wasn't planning on coming because it was snowing and I live 40 miles away, but he came and saw me and saw all the pill bottles, and he calls the paramedics. I remember some of the paramedics talking to me, but I must have gone out again because I was in a coma for 7 days. That's a miracle. That should have been it. Every one of these, I think it's 21 times I tried to delete myself. Every one of them, I took a boatload of Seroquel. I shouldn't be here. So at the plant that I work at, I use them to celebrate life. I have spent probably $500 or more buying candy to put out. I'll buy muffins. Just yesterday, I went to Sam's Club and I got cake pops. It's little cakes on a stick. I'm using them so I can celebrate that I'm still above ground. Judaism helps me a lot. My goodness, it has saved my life. When I had to do those 5 years, I studied everything I could about Judaism. At one of the camps I was at, Augusta even had a Jew there. an Orthodox Jew. And I learned everything I could from him. I got literature and books. Judaism is saving my life today. Not that I will never think about deleting myself, because for one, the medication caused the thoughts. So forgive me. I suffer from depression. It's not bad. Working is my medication. When I'm not working, I don't do nothing. I have to make myself do stuff. It's just working is my therapy. And I love what I do. So, that's my story. I hope this answers the question. There's a lot of people at work that's like, why do you do what you do? What are you looking for? What are you looking to gain? And I'm like, I'm not going to gain I'm not looking to gain anything. There's a lot of haters out there. I love life. And I love the people that I work around. And I like having money, but I don't worship money. I gave our group biscuits from Hardee's that were chicken and steak biscuits. Cost me $53. I don't care. I just like doing, in Judaism we call this a mitzvah. It's doing a good deed for one. And we are to do the most mitzvot, M-I-T-Z-O-T, that's plural, while we can in this world, because when we transition into the next world, those mitzvot will determine how we are going to live in the next world. And I paid for families at a restaurant. I would go to Golden Corral and I would tell the cashier, I want to take care of those two. The entire family. They would never know who it is. It's doing a kind deed for others. I bought them pizza for an entire family because the lady, come to find out, she didn't have the entire total. So I went and put my card at the card reader. And I says, I got this. This is all me celebrating life. I take care of an elderly lady, and if she were to have to pay me back, it would be tens and thousands of dollars. Probably more than $30,000 I have given her, helped her with for the past 8 or 10 years. I'm doing what everyone else should do. Do kind deeds for others. I'm not perfect. I'm not beating my chest and saying, look how magnificent I am, because I am, as King David once said, I am but a worm. I'm just, with me still above ground, I just want to do kindness to others. Because I shouldn't be here. I really, a Kodesh Spur crew is what we call, what us Jews call God. It's the Holy One, blessed be He, in English. He had a plan for me. I don't know if His plan was to take care of Mary, but everything I do, I bring light into this dark world. And that's what a Jew is supposed to do. Every time a Jew does a mitzvah, not only does it bring light, but it brings holiness. And that's my story. I don't access my memories much because of I don't want to start an anxiety attack, or I don't want to but I tell this story because I want justice, not for me, but for those 5 little girls. And the oldest one couldn't have been more than 7. And my father and uncles would take turns. I can still hear the screams. And I failed those little girls. I can't get them. I can't get them justice. And one thing that the FBI told me is there were no children missing in your area. And I told them my father was a truck driver. He drove in 5 to 7 states because he delivered frozen foods. It was mostly Morton TV dinners because he would have overstock and he would bring it home. Every night was TV dinners. I can't think of the truck company he worked for, but he would tell my mother where to meet him, and he would give her his overstock so he can continue on. But he drove through 5 to 7 states. So that's my story. And I appreciate you paying attention. If anyone at work hears this, please don't treat me any different. I'm nothing special. I'm one that saw violence and someone that was violated many times. But I appreciate your attention. You have a good night.